Hello photographers and people interested in photography, especially in photobooks. I'm Gabriele Chiapparini. Welcome to this new episode of Small Photobook Cult. If you like our video, please like them, leave a lot of comments and let us know your opinions and your point of view. Please subscribe to the channel to stay updated. At this point it's really important. Today's book is You Felt the Roots Grow. It's an intimate work reflecting on illness and eventually the loss of a loved one. Through poetic images and text, the photographer contrasts loss with the new life, marked by the birth of her sister's child, and uses nature as a metaphor for life's fragility and renewal. It's a book that touches soft spots in all of us. It's a book born in a time between hope and grief. Welcome to the episode 15 of Small Photobook Cult. We are here with the photographer Sabine Hess. Hello Sabine, welcome.
Hello Gabriele, happy to be here as well.
You are in Berlin right now, right?
Yes, exactly. In a residency for 6 months. Enjoying to work here and the time here, yes. And you?
In Italy.
Nice.
Enjoying the last day of not dying for the hot weather.
Ah, yes. Here is actually a bit the opposite. We still had yesterday some nice weather and the next days will be cold. So I was kind of the opposite from each other, I guess.
You're waiting for the summer.
Yes.
I'm waiting for the autumn.
Yeah.
It's true. So, okay, we can start. Do you want to introduce us the project in general?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm happy to. So the name of the book, the project is called You Felt the Roots Grow. Maybe on a wider level, it talks about family, hope, grief, and generally the cycle of life. On a more personal level, it tells a personal story of my family and myself that I explain from the perspective of the daughter. It was around the same time that my sister, she gave birth to her first child, Ellie. That my dad, who had a cancer illness for many years, and his health started to decline. So the book kind of tries to make sense of that situation, trying to cope with that situation and show my emotional journey in a way.
What about the title?
I guess there are two elements that I could speak of. And on one side, there's the connection with the nature. And in the book, you see a lot of images of nature, and I found that during this time, I guess nature kind of became something like a friend to me. I escaped a little bit sometimes the home that when things were getting too intense, and nature showed me its grow and decay, and that made me also gave me some comfort and solace in that difficult time. So there is this strong connection between nature and ourselves, our own bodies, human bodies, and the kind of symbols that I found in nature. And then there's this You in the title, so You Felt the Roots Grow. The idea for this title came quite in the end of the project, when the book as such was already finished, I guess. In the book, you see a lot of text as well. And those texts are a mix of observation of the everyday. There is often also, I'm talking to a you. And so and this you is actually my dad. And so I wanted to pick up again this dialogue in the title, talking from myself to my dad.
Now, I don't know how to follow up with the conversation because I have questions about trees and the roots and a question about text. So
yes,
let's start from the text. Are the texts from a diary or did you write it specifically for the project?
When we knew that the illness of my dad was going into a terminal phase, I really had this urge to try to remember as much as possible. And I never really wrote a diary before. But that moment I picked it up again and started to write down little notes, things that I noticed changing, but also remarks of him or of my mom about the situation, their relationship. It was actually a part of the book that for a long time I kind of couldn't face, because in comparison to the images themselves, the text is more kind of direct. It took me quite a while until I was brave enough in a way to go through those diary again, and then in a conversation also with Nicolas, who supported me a lot, we decided to include them and put them into conversation with the images. I was trying to show this conflicting emotion that you go through, like when it's about the family relationships, but it's also about this idea of hoping and letting go and the responsibilities and that you pick up all of a sudden as a child when you take care of a parent that is not doing well anymore. And but then also it's also about the beauty of those moments, I guess, and the bittersweetness. So it was a really beautiful time, a very, very tender and caring, but at the same time, as you can see or as you described, also painful, as I never lived through anything before.
What about the layout of the text? Like, was the diary wrote in that way, or you decide to do it for the book?
The diary itself was normally written. I wrote both on my laptop, but also in a little notebook, and then I brought it together. And it was Nicolas that came up with this idea of laying the text out like this. You see also in this PDF, there's like a slight gray background color. In reality, it's like it's only a light varnish that goes behind the text. So it's like a little, you almost don't see it, but it's a little glow that it gives and separates the text from the page. And the text, it kind of becomes an image like this. So it's in conversation with the image that it is next to. And at the same time, you read it differently. Like when you have a bigger gap between one line to the other, it kind of changes the way it's maybe a bit slower. It has more of a rhythm to it, and I find it quite beautiful.
You need to take more time to read it. All the images of the project are pictures that you took during that time, or some picture are from before or after?
So I would say the most of the images were taken during the period, but the kind of we also went through my archive of images, and when we knew where the book was going or the story was going, we added also images that I took before and then after. So if I felt something or we felt something was missing, kind of, for example, this image of the bird, I think I took it a little later, and then we kind of added it. So it's not chronologically, or it's not that everything kind of appeared at the same time. And most of the images as well of nature were taken around the house where we used to live as a family all together in that period. As I returned back to the UK, some of the images are also from there, as it was my home as well. And I continued with this journey of grief. But yes, so majority is around our home. Maybe it should have been not a reoccurring illness, but it kind of reoccurred all the time. So I think our family, we were living a bit in this limbo between, like, supporting and hoping that it doesn't reoccur, and at the same time it was this reality that it would always reoccur, and to go to the hospital, and like it became a part almost of our life. 2019, as I said, was the 7th time that he had a surgery, and as I've always been kind of this family photographer, I shot the first roll before and after his surgery. And I didn't know then yet that it would be a project or anything long term, but it felt to me like I had captured something quite meaningful for me.
And why you decide to work with a repetition in this series of portrait? Where did this idea come from?
What I liked, I think, about this repetition of the 3 portraits of my dad is that it kind of, you see the movement he does, like it's a movement captured in a series. I like always to play a lot with like duos of images, resemblance, but also repetition in a way.
Yeah, it seems to me a bit like you are trying to break the wall of photography.
That's what I was thinking now as well as you were asking me. Yeah, it recalls us, like all this, the project is about trying to remember, to have this, to record this movement, I think is quite beautiful as well.
Yeah, it seems also to me that you decide to portray him in a kind of everyday moments.
Yes, these ones are more staged. Like there's also the image of my mom sitting in the same spot, and it was like just a very do-it-yourself background with the linen, and I placed them in like next to a window to have the light coming in. I like this looking out and like the inside of and the outside coming together in those images.
Is it this one?
This one is another one. That's an image from the bathroom, but again, there's also like this looking outside, and then you observe the natural environment, but you are inside. So also with the curtain afterwards, I guess there's a certain like silence in everything, in every image. That is also a thread that goes through the project. It's quite the silent and still project.
I can take a lot of feelings from the portraits of your mother.
Thank you. Yeah, for me it was really also about like her and her relation, like her feelings in that moment. There's one text that speaks about this. I think if you go on, yes, to a bit more. Yes, this text was something that something I observed that she said when we get old, that her eyes are not good and my dad's ears were not good. So she always imagined that he would see for her and she would hear for him. So it was really, for me to see how this relationship that grew over 40 years, kind of what you do when one of you, like you become almost one person in a way, and then unexpected you lose a half of yourself. But she was and she is so strong, and it's also kind of what I take away from it. Yeah.
What is the role of the ravens? They seem to arrive, wait, and then leave.
Look, I think it's about, the first images with when you see them like flying, I started with those images and I found them a beautiful symbol for time passing, or for like something happening, but still you are still in a way. And this gesture of looking up into the sky and seeing how they pass in a way. I found it has a lot to do with this element of time and time passing, and maybe also the seasons changing. they kind of I continue to see them and I continue to photograph them. I think they mark a kind of presence of something. They're like animals that they move and they stay. I don't know. And the end image of the falling bird, I like this ambivalence because you are not sure, is it attacking something or is it falling? And I found this quite a nice image for the moment it arrives.
There are also a lot of trees in the book, and they give me three different feelings, let's say meaning. So I see a kind of self-portrait of you, a portrait of your father, or the illness.
Yeah, I think you are right. If you look at this specific tree on the right, to me it reminded me a lot of the veins that you see on my mom's hand on the left. In a broader sense, I think the tree and the roots, like they give the stability to the forest. And there's also this link between the family and the trees and the continuation. But at the same time, for us, I think it was always, the roots were also a symbol for me to visualize this, the illness that was hidden under the skin. So normally the roots, they are under the ground and you don't know how far they reach. And with the illness, it was the same. So when we knew that the cancer was in a terminal stage, you are in this limbo of not knowing how long you have left or how deep it's already reaching. So I found this ambivalence or this symbol quite strong. And in this case of that tree on the right, but also in another one, you see they are kind of on the edge of a gorge, and you see really the deepness and you see the instability in a way. So it kind of, for me, it was also still stable, but about to break away, maybe. And I guess this capsuled also quite well this in between.
Yeah, this is also why I thought about self-portrait. Mm-hmm. Because I think when something like this happen in a family, especially in this one, it's like a pillar of your childhood, your past is gonna to disappear. And probably when, like I just experienced once with my grandmother, and like to me it was really the pillar of the family. She was a woman from South Italy, so after she died, the family like fall apart. I recognize a lot of myself in that moment in pictures like this one. Like you are not falling, and probably you can resist in some way, but something really important is missing, and you have to find another way to grow up.
Yeah, that's beautifully put. I agree. It's like when someone that was there the entire life and that everyone kind of relied on, I mean, it's not there anymore. Everyone changes. It's really something so important lacking, and the relationship themselves change as well. And you have to find your own way in a way. Always in relation, obviously, to others, but there's something missing.
And also this coming back to the nature helped me to understand in some way that it was all part of a process. Something disappears, something new come up.
Definitely. I think that's what that's what helped me as well a lot during that time. To those moments in the forest where you have your where you see yourself in this broader cycle of life, and where you kind of see things going and coming, and it's all kind of in one place. I think that is very like comforting. Also, all of the sudden you are aware of your own fragility and your own not endlessness. And that's also something that you have to be able to put in context.
Yeah, it's true. I think it's really easy to don't think about it. I was looking for the text because what you said before. Yeah, this one.
Yeah. This text was quite was very hard to put, I would say, because it make it feel so definite. Also, as it's placed in the end, but at the same time, I think it really encapsulated my fear in that moment, or the way I, let's say, after losing my dad, I was in a certain time, I had to try to find a way to cope with the fragility of myself, but also with the people around me. And I think it's the most natural that we kind of have those moments of asking ourselves when will we be going, and how, and but then I guess it's also good to take a step back and digest everything, and to see, okay, we kind of continue, but maybe I continue life a bit more wary, and yeah.
There is another text where you speak about the fear of forgetting. Yeah, this one.
Yes. Yeah.
You wrote, I close my eyes and I try to recall your voice, the way you walked, the thing you said. Sometimes this feel closer to what I think might have been the reality, but sometimes it feels so far away that I get angry and sad about how my brain seems to have already forgotten you. Sorry, I'm quite far from the monitor. It's not super easy to read it.
I'm also trying to read.
In this line of text, you wrote about the fear of forgetting. What is the role of photography in this project? Do you think like photography can help you to remember or to save some memories?
Yes, I think so. I hope so. I mean, it's only a tool to support, I guess, your remembering, and it's one of many elements that can help you to remember someone. But at the same time, for me, for example, also the voice, like, it would be great to have more records of my dad speaking, or to have more videos. Yes, I think photography is one of many tools, and this project was born in this urge to try to remember, knowing that the time will pass and not knowing how much we have left.
I can notice that in all the projects you worked a lot with the contrast from like the pair of the images. Mm-hmm. Not all the time the pair, it can happen also from one page to another, like these two, for example. Mm-hmm. But others, like I will find one that works. This one, for example, you see a beautiful tree that seems healthy in the left, and in the right you see a kid with a piece of a tree in the hand. So
yeah, it's this like I agree, there's a lot of contrast between like softness and hardness, of growing, decaying, of the like my sister's child, the youth and the age, like the signs of age, the tree you looked at, and then what is falling off from it, maybe. So, and this it's all about the contrast. There's also the image of the apple that is cut open, and where you see inside, and you see that something is not good anymore, and you see it next to the head, I think, of my niece, where it's kind of I play also with similar shapes, and then but find a contrast as well. There's a lot of contrast for sure.
Sabine, I have a question directly from Carla Iraldo-Volo. That she's the one that suggests me to have this book in the podcast, and I'm glad she suggests me that. And Carla asks, both our works speak about a loss in very different way. Do you also see art as therapeutic? How did this work help you heal, if it did?
Thanks for the question, and also thank you, Carla, for proposing me. I think in some ways, yes, it can be therapeutic. It did help me to cope with that situation, and then also what I think was even more important, to speak about it a lot and to address it first with my peers at school, and I guess for me it was such a vulnerable project to work off, but then seeing how this vulnerability was kind of transformed into a certain strength in a way. And I think that was really beautiful for me to see how things can transform and can also give you hope. I would say so, but I would say at the same time, in order to work on a project like this, you need to either have, and I think in hers as well, you need to either have yourself like therapy in order to cope with it, or you need to maybe have a very strong network of people and people that support you and that you can rely on. And so I think it's both a little bit, especially after maybe, because you work on a project for yourself, and then it becomes a book, which is beautiful if that manages to happen. But I guess it's all about the process also that happens afterwards, how it's received, how important that is to you, or if you can strip that off a little bit, like that external pressure in a way. And I think that's what is important, that you do your work for yourself. You keep it as precious to you as it's possible.
Yes, and it's also a beautiful tribute to your father.
Thank you.
Sabine, is there any specific image that you want to speak about, or that you are linked to in a specific way?
I think maybe it's a duo that I can talk a little bit about quite in the beginning of the project, that shows this link between the human and the natural. And it's actually these two where my mom holds my dad. Yes. This one is quite, or is very important for me. It's my mom that holds my dad, and you see when you have the book or the higher resolution of the image, that like she is holding on to him, and her skin is a little bit wrinkly. You see the age. You see his skin. Like this tender holding together. And I often put them next to the next page's image. Yes, this one, where it's also like these two trees that have grown together over years and have become one. But you see at the same time there is the ivy, or the nature that takes over, and it's also in a fragile state in a way. I think those are quite speaking for the project and for this holding on to each other and giving each other support, but also, I guess, letting go at one point.
I'm crying a bit.
No. I had my moment before already as well.
Okay. Sabine, like for me, it's okay if we stop here and I have some generic question.
Yes, thanks a lot.
It was super beautiful. I want to ask if there is a specific music you suggest to listen while going through the book.
So I have different ideas for this. I would probably just sit outside and listen to the birds and the wind, and maybe if you have somewhere a tree that is close. And afterwards, maybe I think my dad would have loved Country Roads or Blackbirds from the Beatles.
And do you have an advice for people approaching photography right now, something you discovered doing this project?
I guess it's coming back to the community and the people that are with you. The importance of having a big support network. I mean, maybe it's a moment to say thank you to my partner, Nicolas, that really, I think without him, this book or this project wouldn't have been possible in that way. On an emotional level, but then also he with his beautiful ideas for the design. And my family, of course, my dad and my sisters and my mom, who gave me the permission also to tell that story, and the support to do it, and everyone around, friends. So for me, it's really about, I guess, surround yourself with the people that support you, and your community that gives you feedback and honest feedback, and that keeps on questioning you and your decision. I think that's great. All about photo community and friends. Look inside you, what really matters to you, if you are looking for a project or something to work on. But I think if you start with a real genuine interest, something magical will happen, and you will have the endurance to work on a project for a long time.
Yeah, I want to say hello also to Nicolas Polli that made the design of this book with is Ciao Press, right? The publisher.
Yes. Yeah, in collaboration with Witty Books.
With Witty.
But Nicolas, yes, he did the design, and
I hope to have Nicolas soon in the podcast. Can be really nice.
Hope so too.
And then the very last question, do you have a book that you want to suggest us to have in the podcast in the future?
Yes, I have actually a few, but I will try to. So there's a friend here in Berlin, and I have seen her book, but never really heard her speaking about it. It's Joanna Spohr, and her book is called Alltagsfantasie. I think that could be a really nice dive into. And then Maya Daniels Gertrude, I would love to know more about as well.
This is the first time that I was able to do this. It's the first book that was suggested in the first episode, and it's the first time that finally
you managed to bring it. Good.
Yeah. You could also suggest Carlo Heraldo Volo, another love story. So
yes. This was had already.
So yeah, it's already done. No. Okay, thank you, Sabine. It was crazy and beautiful, and yeah, I really love to have this talk with you.
Same. Thanks a lot for the nice conversation, for the deep conversation. It was really a comfortable space to talk about all these things.
Yeah, thanks. I try my best, but with some topic it's not so easy. Like I was a bit nervous, but yeah.
Me too. But I think it was. I feel very comforted by it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. And
Have a nice.
bye everyone from me and from Sabine, and see you next time. Ciao.